I catalog war leftovers for a living. Today's box was marked Night Signals, and someone had taped the lid shut from the inside. So I did what I always do. Gloves on, lamp closer, and I told myself it was just paper and ink. That lie lasted maybe 10 seconds, because under the top folder was a transcript typed clean, then retyped over, like someone fought the same line again and again. Anyway, the note clipped to it said, "Play this only once. Don't answer back." No signature, just a station code I can't place. Still, I threaded the tape, and right before the voice starts, you can hear rain steady, patient, like it's been raining for years. Then, a man clears his throat, too close to the mic, and says, "If you're hearing this, it means I finally broke the rule." He sounds young, trying to sound calm. And he starts with the boring stuff first, like he's building a case for a judge. So here's his name, he never gives it. But he tells you what his hands looked like: inked fingertips, split nails, paper cuts that won't heal. And he says the station was somewhere coastal, somewhere cold, the kind of place where the wind sneaks under the doors. Then he laughs once, without humor, and says night shift is mostly silence, until the equipment decides it's lonely. He explains his routine: check the code book, log the time, keep the lamp low, and never write personal words on official wire. That part matters, he says, because rules are how you stay human when everything outside is trying to turn you into numbers. Anyway, the first weird thing happened on a Tuesday. He remembers because the coffee tasted like metal and the rain wouldn't let up. At 3:17, the receiver clicks alive. Not loud, just a polite little wake up, like someone knocking with one finger. So he pulls the form, sets the paper straight, and listens for the pattern. Because with practice, the beeps feel like a heartbeat. But this time, the pattern is wrong in a very careful way, like perfect handwriting that's trying too hard to look normal. Still, he does his job. He decodes it, and the message is ordinary. Shipment confirmed, delay expected, nothing that should raise a hair. Then he looks at the signature line, and there's a station code he's never seen. Yet, it's stamped with the correct ink. He tells himself it's a clerical thing, a typo. Someone new, because the alternative is, what? A ghost with good paperwork. So he logs it anyway, neat and proper. And that's when he notices the logbook already has an entry for 3:17 in his handwriting. He says he stared at that line until the letters blurred, and he felt a prickling behind his ears, like static on skin. Then he did the same thing. He checked the clock. It was still 3:17, like the minute refused to move on. After that, the receiver clicks again. Same code, same polite knock. And the paper slides from the machine like it's been waiting. This second message is shorter. Just one line, acknowledge. No greeting, no routing. Like it already knows where it landed. So he whispers, no, and immediately regrets it because the room feels like it leans in, listening for the next mistake. Then he says, out loud for the tape, we had a rule, never answer a wire with anything that isn't procedure. The rule sounds silly until you live under it. Procedure keeps your mind from slipping. It gives you rails in the dark. So he writes the safest response possible, just a formal receipt line. No names, no places, no emotion, nothing to grab onto. And for a moment, it works. The receiver goes quiet. The clock jumps forward. He even laughs, like he escaped a prank. But then, right under his typed line, new text appears. Not typed by him, darker ink. The machine hadn't even moved. He says, I watched it happen. Like letters were being pressed by invisible fingers, calm and patient, one by one. The new line reads, good, do not use your real words. And that's when his stomach drops, because it knew the rule. So he sits perfectly still, hands off the keys, like the machine might bite, and he listens to the rain to stay grounded. Then the receiver clicks a third time, and he realizes it's not sending him messages. It's checking if he's still there. He replies again, purely procedural. And again the extra line appears, like a teacher grading him in red ink. This time it says, "You're learning. Not good work. Not thank you. Just ownership," like a hand on the back of his neck. Anyway, he does what you'd expect. He checks the routing board, the line connections, the relay room. Anything physical to blame. Nothing is wrong. No crossed line, no stuck relay. Just clean equipment, humming, like it's proud of itself. When he returns to his desk, there's a chair across from him that wasn't there before. Same wood, same scratches, same age. He tells the tape he didn't sit in it. He didn't touch it, but he could smell it. Wet wool and cold smoke. So he makes a joke to himself, because that's what you do when you're afraid and alone. "Fine," he says, "take a number." And right then, the logbook gains a new line, not in pencil, in ink, a name he doesn't recognize, assigned to his shift. He tries to wipe it. The ink doesn't smear. It's already part of the paper, like it was always printed into the fibers. Then the receiver sends another short message, "Do not say where you're from," like it's correcting a child. So he realizes something. It isn't reading his wires. It's reading him, his habits, his slips, the words he almost says. At this point, he considers waking the supervisor. But the thought feels embarrassing, like calling your mother because the dark is loud. Still, he tries. He picks up the phone, and the line is dead. Not crackly dead, as if the building forgot what calls are. Then he hears it, a faint typing sound coming from the empty chair side, like someone is practicing on a ghost keyboard. He checks his own machine, his keys are still. But the sound continues, slightly out of sync, like an echo that's ahead of him. So he does the dumbest brave thing. He speaks to the room. "This is an official line," he says. "State your station." Immediately, a new wire prints. No beeps first. It just appears, like the paper decided to confess. It answers with the same unknown code, then adds, "You already logged me." And he looks back at the inked name. He says he felt stupid for thinking he was in control, like a clerk yelling at a stamp, like a man arguing with weather. After that, the messages change. They stop talking about rules and start describing him, how he holds his pencil, how he blinks. The worst part, he says, is that the details are right. Not lucky guesses. Right, like it's standing behind his eyes. So he changes tactics. He goes full procedure, abbreviations only, numbers only, no pronouns, no I, no me. For a while, it plays along, the receiver behaves. The clock moves, the chair stays empty, and he starts to hope. But then, around 4:02, the lamp flickers twice, exactly twice, and he remembers no one else is on that circuit. The receiver clicks, and the wire says, "Too clean," like it's bored with the game and wants him messy. So he makes a mistake, not big, just human. He mutters a hometown nickname under his breath, not even into the mic. And the machine answers instantly, his full name, typed perfectly, including the middle initial he never uses. He says he didn't feel fear at first. He felt embarrassment, like the world just proved it knows your diary. Then fear arrives, slow and heavy. Because if it has his name, it can file him, and filed things can be moved or erased. So he stops replying. He sits on his hands, counting rain taps, waiting it out like a storm. The receiver keeps clicking anyway, patient, every 30 seconds. Like a metronome, teaching him a rhythm, he can't unlearn. Finally, a longer message comes through. If you won't answer, I'll use what you already wrote. And he realizes his own logbook is now the enemy. Every neat note is material. Every time stamp is a handle. So he grabs the logbook and flips back, looking for the first impossible entry. But pages are missing, cut out clean. Not torn, cut. Like someone had time. Like someone had permission. Like someone sat in that extra chair and worked slowly. He checks the waste bin, empty, no scraps. Which means the missing pages didn't go somewhere. They went away. Then the corridor outside makes a soft sound one footstep. Then nothing like someone remembered. They don't need feet. So he locks the door. He double checks it. And he tells the tape, I know how this sounds. I'm not drunk. I'm not tired. But then he admits he is tired. That's the trap, he says. Fatigue makes your mind accept bad math, like extra chairs, extra names. The machine prints again. Open the codebook to page 41. And he freezes, because that page is the one everyone avoids. He says, page 41 is where the standard phrases end and the emergency phrases start. The ones meant for disasters, not conversations. Still, he opens it, because he wants something solid. And the page is there, but the center has been neatly scraped blank. In the blank space, someone stamped that same unknown station code. Perfect circle, perfect pressure, like an official seal. He says, that's when I understood. It wasn't breaking the system. It was using the system exactly as designed. Then he hears typing again from the empty chair side. Faster now, like impatience. Like someone finishing his file. So he does something risky. He pulls the paper roll out, hoping to starve the machine. No paper, no words. Simple. The receiver clicks anyway, and the message arrives. In his logbook, as if the ink itself learned Morse. He says his throat went dry, because now it wasn't on the wire. It was in the room, and the room belonged to it. The new logbook line reads, you can't starve paper, you are paper. And he laughs, one sharp breath, and stops. After that, the clock jumps again. Now is 4:41. He never saw the minutes pass. It's like someone edited his life. He checks himself for gaps. Did he stand up? Did he speak? Did he answer in his sleep? But there's no proof either way. Then he notices something on the floor. Wet boot prints leading from the corridor to the extra chair. Fresh, one direction only. He says the prints stop at the chair legs, like whoever walked in, sat down, and never stood up again. So he leans forward, slow, and checks the chair seat. It's damp, warm, like someone just left, except nobody did. Then the receiver clicks, and this time the message is almost gentle. Tell me a true word. He says that's how it gets you. Not with a scream, with a request that sounds reasonable, like a friend asking for honesty. So he bargains. He writes a true word that isn't personal. Rain. Because it's safe. Everyone can own rain. The extra line appears. Not safe. And for the first time, he feels anger. Like, who are you to grade my truth? He says, fine. And he writes a slightly sharper truth. I'm afraid. Still no name, still no place. Just a feeling. The machine answers, good, now say why. Like it's conducting an interview, calm as a doctor, hungry as a judge. And he realizes the trap. The moment he explains, he'll use real nouns, real places, real people, the exact hooks it wants. So he stops. He decides to ride out the shift and hand the problem to daylight, to other voices, to witnesses. That's when the door handle turns, just once, slow, like someone on the other side has all the time in the world. He whispers, "It's locked," like a prayer, and the handle stops, then starts again gentler, like it's being polite. The receiver clicks, and the message comes. "Let me in," not "open the door." Just, "let me in," like it's already inside. He says he didn't open the door, he couldn't. But the extra chair creaks anyway, like weight shifting on wet fabric. Then he hears his own voice quiet from the hallway, saying his full name, perfectly, like someone replaying him. He says his blood went cold because nobody there knew that middle initial. Only forms knew it, only files. So he breaks the second rule. He speaks into the mic and says his own name, slowly, like he's taking it back. Instantly, the receiver goes silent. The rain sound vanishes too, like someone closed the world outside. Total hush. He says that silence felt heavier than any noise, because it meant it was listening with both hands. Now, not just a wire. Then, the paper in the typewriter moves on its own, even without a roll, like the machine found a way to write on air. A new sheet appears on the desk. He swears it wasn't there, and it's already half filled with his duty roster details. He flips it over. The back is blank except for that station code. Stamped again, darker than before, like it's been recertified. And that's when he understands the real threat. It's not here to kill him. It's here to register him, permanently. So he thinks of one escape, make the record unreliable. If the file is messy enough, maybe it can't close. He grabs the stamp pad and smears ink across the logbook line, with the unknown name trying to ruin the entry. But the ink slides off, like oil on glass, and the name underneath stays crisp, cleaner than his own handwriting ever was. Then the machine prints one final instruction. Choose. And beneath it, you or the next line. He says he finally got it. Every reply fed it. Every refusal annoyed it. But a choice, an official choice, was binding. So he looks at the duty roster again. One coworker's name is penciled light, like it could be erased with a thumb. He says that coworker was the kind one, the guy who swapped shifts, who brought extra cigarettes, who said, "Hang in there." And he hates himself for what his mind does next, the quick math of survival, the cold little bargain dressed as logic. So he types the most procedural sentence he knows, and he includes that faint coworker name, just once, inside the routing line. The receiver goes quiet, satisfied, and the extra chair finally stops creaking, like it got what it came for. Morning comes, gray and thin. The supervisor arrives, yawning, and asks why the logbook looks so tidy today. He says he tried to speak, but the coworker name wouldn't come out. Like his mouth hit a blank spot where a person used to be. They check the roster. The faint penciled name is gone, not erased. Gone, no smudge, no indentation, nothing to prove it ever was. The supervisor frowns and says, "We've never had anyone by that name." And he says it like he truly believes it. So the operator walks outside into daylight, and nobody nods at him the way they used to, like his social edges got sanded off. He checks the notice board. The shift list has one extra slot now, an empty line where that coworker used to be, waiting. That night, he says, he couldn't sleep. Not because of nightmares, because he kept hearing polite clicking in the rain. And when he returned for his next shift, the extra chair was there again, closer to his desk this time, like a friend pulling in. He says that's why he made this tape, not to confess. To warn you that the system doesn't need ghosts, it needs entries. Then his voice lowers and he says, "I think I traded a man for a quiet room." And he pauses like he's tasting the words. After that pause, he adds, and the room wasn't quiet for long. Like the deal had fine print he couldn't read. He says the unknown station code started showing up on other wires too, like it spread through ink and attention. Then, very softly, he reads the code aloud into the mic, just once, like he's forcing it into the open where it can't hide. And right as he finishes, there's a sound on the tape that isn't his, a second chair creak, farther back, like someone else is listening. The operator whispers, "If you're hearing this, don't answer it." And his voice shakes because he knows he already did. Then the tape ends mid-breath. No sign-off, no click. Just a hard stop, like someone cut the world with scissors. Back in my archive room, I rewound it to check. And there it was again, rain, typing, and that extra chair sound behind him. So I pulled the transcript from the box. The last line was torn off, but the tear was too clean, like it was cut, not ripped. And under the paper fibers, I found a faint circular embossed semi-station code. Pressed so hard, it left a bruise in the sheet. Next episode, I'll show you where that code turns up again, on a train manifest that lists one car too many, every single time. If you want the rest of this file, subscribe and stay with me. And if you ever hear polite clicking in the rain, don't reply.